Stop everything and listen carefully, because what you are about to uncover is not just a story. It is a revelation that could shake the very foundations of everything you thought you knew about power, secrecy, and silence in the entertainment world. For months, whispers surrounded the sudden disappearance of Yu Menglong, a rising star whose presence once lit up every room he entered. Then, without warning, he was gone. No clear explanation, no final statement, just silence that grew louder with each passing day. But now, something has surfaced that was never meant to be seen, something they tried to bury, something they thought was gone forever. A flash drive. A single device holding secrets so explosive that entire careers could collapse overnight. Stay with this story until the very end and make sure you follow closely, because what you are about to read will not only shock you, it will make you question everything, and you will not want to miss a single moment of what comes next. It all began with a routine investigation that took a sudden and unexpected turn. The missing flash drive, once believed to be destroyed, was recovered under circumstances so mysterious that even insiders struggled to explain how it resurfaced. Found hidden in a location that had already been searched multiple times, it immediately raised questions. Who placed it there? Why was it hidden so carefully? And most importantly, what was inside that made it worth protecting at all costs? At first, the device appeared ordinary, just another storage tool lost in a sea of forgotten data. But when experts attempted to access its contents, they were met with layers of encryption so advanced that it suggested something far more significant was being concealed. This was not random security. This was deliberate. This was protection. And the more they tried to unlock it, the clearer it became that whatever was stored inside was never meant to be discovered. Days turned into nights as specialists worked relentlessly, breaking through one layer after another. Each step forward revealed fragments, small pieces of a much larger puzzle. Files labeled with coded names. Timestamps that aligned with key moments before Yu Menglong's disappearance. And then, finally, the moment that changed everything. The encryption cracked. The contents revealed. And what they found inside was nothing short of astonishing. The flash drive contained a series of documents, recordings, and logs that painted a picture far darker than anyone had imagined. Conversations between individuals whose names carried weight in the industry. Discussions that hinted at decisions being made behind closed doors, decisions that would alter lives without a single public acknowledgement. It was not just information. It was evidence. One particular file stood out among the rest. A recording that captured a conversation so intense, so calculated, that it sent shockwaves through everyone who heard it. Voices speaking in low tones, carefully choosing their words, yet revealing more than they intended. Plans being discussed, strategies being outlined, and at the center of it all, a name that could not be ignored. Yu Menglong. According to insiders, this was the moment everything changed. The narrative that had been quietly accepted began to unravel. The idea that his disappearance was a coincidence no longer held weight. The patterns were too clear. The connections too precise. The evidence too undeniable. What once seemed like isolated events now formed a chain, each link stronger than the last, leading to a conclusion that no one was prepared to face. But what makes this story even more mind-blowing is what happened next. As soon as word began to spread that the flash drive had been accessed, unusual activity was reported. Calls being made at odd hours. Meetings arranged in secrecy. Individuals who had remained silent suddenly becoming unreachable. It was as if the mere existence of the evidence had triggered a reaction, a ripple effect that exposed just how deeply this situation ran. And yet, despite the mounting tension, the information continued to surface. More files were analyzed. More connections uncovered. Each revelation adding another layer to a story that was growing more complex by the minute. There were references to agreements that were never meant to be public. Mentions of decisions that had consequences far beyond what anyone could have predicted. And throughout it all, a recurring theme of control, of influence, of power being exercised in ways that remained hidden from the world. Now here is the moment you cannot afford to miss. If you want to stay ahead of every revelation, every hidden detail, and every shocking twist in this unfolding story. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications right now, because what has been uncovered so far is only the beginning, and the next pieces of evidence could change everything. As investigators continued to examine the contents of the flash drive, they discovered something even more chilling. A timeline, a carefully constructed sequence of events that mapped out key moments leading up to Yu Menglong's disappearance. It showed movements, interactions, and decisions that aligned with the data in a way that could not be dismissed as coincidence. It was precise, it was deliberate, and it was impossible to ignore. This timeline revealed that in the days before he vanished, Yu Menglong had been actively documenting his surroundings. Notes, recordings, and digital traces suggested that he was aware of something significant enough to warrant preserving evidence. It was as if he knew that what he had discovered could not remain hidden, and he was determined to ensure that the truth would eventually come to light. And now, that truth is emerging. Slowly, piece by piece, but with undeniable force. The reaction from within the industry has been a mix of silence and subtle shifts. Publicly, there have been no direct statements addressing the contents of the flash drive. But behind the scenes, the atmosphere has changed. Events have been quietly postponed, appearances canceled, conversations redirected. It is a subtle but noticeable shift, one that suggests the impact of these revelations is being felt even in places where nothing is being said. Fans, meanwhile, have taken to social media, analyzing every detail, sharing theories, and demanding answers. The story has spread beyond borders, capturing attention on a global scale. What started as a mystery has evolved into something much larger, a narrative that speaks to the power of truth, the weight of secrecy, and the determination of one individual to ensure that what he knew would not be lost. And at the center of it all remains Yu Menglong. A name that once represented talent and rising success now stands as a symbol of something far deeper. A reminder that even in a world where appearances are carefully managed, where narratives are controlled, and where silence can be enforced, the truth has a way of finding its path. As we reach this point in the story, one thing becomes clear. This is not the end. It is not even close. The flash drive was only the beginning. What it revealed has opened the door to questions that demand answers, to truths that refuse to stay hidden, and to a story that is still unfolding with every passing moment. So stay ready, stay informed, and stay connected. Because what comes next could be even more shocking than what has already been revealed. The truth is out there, and it is moving closer to the surface with every second. And when it finally arrives in full, it will change everything.